when you lose on the last play, it's going to hurt.
And the ball is caught! Caught! It's a miracle!
But let's go back and look at the tape and then get better from this. That's what we always do. That's what we're going to do here.
That one falls at one man's feet, and his name is Matt Eberflus. That's his offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron.
To be clear, this was a coaching meltdown.
I don't know that he is a good coach, can be a good head coach.
I'm not worried about the talent. I am absolutely worried about the coaching. I think Shane Waldron's been a disaster through 3 weeks, and I hope that he can correct it.
I look at the losses they've suffered. Indianapolis, Washington. Those are coaching losses. If I owned the team, I would consider firing the coach.
It's been a long time since we've had a good rant on this channel, so I would say we're due. But unfortunately, this rant has to be about a team that I care a lot about, and that's the Chicago Bears. This whole video isn't just about the loss to the Commanders, by the way. It's really more about the state of the franchise as a whole, but admittedly, that loss is a perfect representation of the larger issues at play here. The job of an NFL coach is to put his players in position to succeed. You lead the locker room, and through both scheme and play calling, you do your best to mask the weaknesses of your players while amplifying their strengths wherever possible. That is it. That's the job. And some coaches are a lot better at that job than others. There were a lot of warning signs early on that Shane Waldron in particular was about to have a rough year. Let's just say it diplomatically. But I don't think there was any sequence, at least to me, that was a bigger red flag than a goal line sequence that he called against the Colts all the way back in week 3. It's 1st and goal from the 4-yard line, down by 7 with 2 minutes left in the first half. Waldron calls a run from the Wildcat on 1st down, which doesn't work. They get whooped up front, only get 2 yards. Fine, whatever, we'll live with it. It's just 1st down. On 2nd down, they call a zone read with an orbit flare as a pass option, and that's kind of a fun call. I don't really have any problems with that either. On defense, the Colts read man on the edge stays disciplined. He forces the give and then makes the play. Again, fine, that's just good defense. We'll live with that too. But here's where it gets shitty. 3rd and goal now from the 1-yard line, and Shane Waldron calls duo. And that in itself is not a bad idea. But what is a bad idea is when the success or failure of that duo call depends on Waldron asking 5'8", 190-pound DeAndre Carter to block Tyquan Lewis, who weighs 270. In what world is that call putting your players in position to succeed? Like, why even line up this way and call duo? Puka Nacua has 25 pounds on Carter, and he's one of the best blocking receivers in the entire league, and Sean McVay still does not make him block 270-pound defensive ends. So why the hell is Waldron making Carter do that on the goal line? It's just ridiculous. But to make matters even worse, his call on 4th down was a speed option play. Again, that in itself is not the worst thing, but as an offensive coordinator with a rookie quarterback, if you're calling speed option on the goal line, your job is to remind him that, hey, if we're outnumbered and out-leveraged to the play side, we do not run this play. We call timeout. There is no universe where speed option works against this look from the Colts. You do not have the numbers, you do not have the angles. But rather than doing his job as the coach and either calling timeout himself when they did have 2 timeouts available, or preparing his rookie quarterback to call timeout if the look was not favorable, everybody was just asleep at the wheel, and they let this ball be snapped to run a play that had absolutely zero chance of working. Chicago lost a ton of yards, and they turned it over on downs. Again, you could be critical of Caleb Williams for also not calling a timeout there himself, but the job of the coaching staff is to be a safety net for a rookie quarterback making his 3rd ever start. You have to protect him from mistakes like that. And you also have to call better plays that don't involve running behind a slot receiver at the point of attack so that mistakes like that can't even happen in the first place. Now, one quick note before we move on here. If you do live in the Chicago area and you're looking for something else fun to do on your weekends that doesn't involve ritualistic, crippling depression, there are a lot of options for you. There's theater shows, there's both NHL and minor league hockey, Stevie Wonder's playing this weekend. I mean, there's just so much to do that isn't going to make your blood pressure spike. And you can get tickets to literally any of these events on the Game Time app. Game Time has built a ticket marketplace that makes it faster and easier to get into your favorite events at a moment's notice. They specialize in last-minute tickets to the most popular events in sports, music, and theater in more than 60 cities across the US and Canada. including obviously Chicago, but also most other major cities as well. If you're a masochist, yes, you can use Game Time to get last-minute tickets to the next home Bears game at the lowest possible price. And there's even Game Time Picks, which I've shown on this channel before. That's a feature that filters out all the fluff, and it only shows the best deals on the best seats, so you don't have to waste time sorting through thousands of different tickets. But why do that, when instead you can go see Sarah Landry melt your face off with the best hard techno set you've ever seen in your life? Look, Game Time just does everything the right way. They have views from every single ticket, so while you're browsing, you get a good idea of what your view is actually going to be. They have all-in pricing as an option as well, so while you're trying to decide what ticket you want to get, you can see what the total is going to be in the end with no surprise fees, and your purchase is going to be covered by the most flexible customer service policy in the entire ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks today. Download the Game Time app, create your own account, and of course, use promo code BrettK, and you'll even get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, of course. Again, that is create an account and use promo code BRETTK for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you once again to Game Time for sponsoring today's show. And with that, how about we dive a little bit deeper into this shit show? After that Colts game, it was widely reported that Bears offensive players went to Shane Waldron and had a meeting with him to express all of their frustrations. Which, by the way, never a good sign if that happens 3 weeks into the year. But for a time, things seemed better. Benching Nate Davis certainly helped the offensive line to play better, and the play calling seemed, let's just say, more suited for what their young quarterback was comfortable doing as well. They de-emphasized trying to throw the deep ball outside the numbers because Caleb was struggling with that, and instead they focused more on quick rhythm passes and working the intermediate middle of the field where Williams was way more comfortable. Also, sidebar, the fact that Caleb already is so good at working the intermediate middle is what makes me confident he's going to be just fine long term, because the middle of the field is typically a death trap for young quarterbacks. If you look at the college level, because the hashes are so much wider than in the NFL, it just creates a lot more manufactured space. There's just a lot more grass that you can work with when the ball is spotted on the hash at the college level, because you're so close to the boundary on one side and you have almost the entire field to work with on the other side. So you're not really working the middle of the field. You just have a shit ton of space that you can work with, either with the horizontal or the vertical passing game. You contrast that with the NFL, where the hashes are a lot closer together, and you're kind of forced to work the middle of the field because that's where the ball is spotted. The space is a lot more balanced and also a lot more compressed. It's way harder to manufacture offense, and of course the athletes are better at the NFL level too. So really, the best way to succeed as an NFL quarterback is to get really comfortable threading the ball in between linebackers and underneath safeties. Whether it's Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Matthew Stafford, even look at CJ Stroud last year, the reason why those quarterbacks are so good is because they work the intermediate middle. So seeing Caleb somehow be really good at that, but really average to below average in terms of taking shots deep down the boundary, that's not normal. But if I had to choose one thing for him to be very well developed at, it's work in the middle of the field. But I digress. For the next 3 games after that Colts game, everything was slightly looking up, and there was an air of positivity in Bears land. But at the same time, we were also all kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, because those were 3 of the worst statistical defenses in the NFL, and there were legitimate questions about if the Bears could move the ball on any other defense that wasn't, terrible. Wins are wins, but winning those games didn't just magically erase the coaching problems that were haunting the core of this team. So ultimately, coming back from the bye week, the Bears, and more importantly Bears fans, were given a very harsh reminder of the reality of this sport, which is that in this league, more games are lost than won. And bad coaching staffs tend to be the losers. Caleb struggled early and often in this game. I'm not going to pretend he didn't. He struggled with accuracy, he struggled with dealing with pressure because the offensive line had a terrible day overall. But to his credit, Williams did rally late to put together 2 good drives when the team needed it the most. He got them in position to score. It was what happened after he got them in position, though, that brought me back to all of the frustrations that we had earlier in the year. To give the ball on the goal line to a backup offensive lineman when you're down by 5 and absolutely need to score, that is just indefensible. It's cute for the sake of being cute. It's trying to do a callback to a famous play from the past like it's some fucking Disney movie and not a real NFL game, and I hate it. If you're the Lions and you can score at will because you have Ben Johnson and Pro Bowlers everywhere, like, sure, call the cute stuff. But you're Shane Waldron. You're the Bears. Just call ISO like a normal human, please. Wasting that possession was bad enough as is, but luckily, the Bears' defense is so good that they still got the ball back again. They still had another chance. And Caleb once again did some Caleb Williams magic to get the ball back in position to, yet again, take that improbable lead. That brought us to the 2-minute warning from the Washington 17-yard line, still down by 5 points and with all 3 timeouts remaining. And for whatever reason, this is the play calling sequence that followed. On 2nd and 8, Waldron dialed up a QB draw that got 3 yards. Sure, DeAndre Swift was having a great second half. He was ripping off big chunks of yardage, but anytime you get in the red zone and you have the opportunity to make your quarterback and backup offensive lineman carry the ball instead, you just got to do it. And then on 3rd and 5, completely inexplicably, he did it again. He called another design quarterback run on 3rd and 5 in the red zone while down by 5 points. Situationally speaking, that is probably even worse than giving the ball to a backup offensive lineman, and that's saying something. So we get to 4th and 3, Waldron calls mesh, and through the grace of the football gods, we get a defensive pass interference call on Keenan Allen, and that results in a fresh set of downs. So I want to set the stage for everybody here, just so you know where we're at. It's 1st and goal from the 1-yard line after that penalty. There's 30 seconds left in the game, you're down by 5, and you have all 3 timeouts. You do not have to throw the ball. In fact, you're incentivized not to throw the ball because you have 3 timeouts. You have 4 guaranteed shots at the end zone, and if you run the ball and you don't get it on 1st down, you can bleed the clock as much as you want to, knowing that you still guaranteed have 3 more shots at it. You can run 4 times in a row if you really want to, but either way, you have 4 chances to score while bleeding the clock and potentially denying the other team even a chance to respond if it takes more than 1 play. And so, knowing this, what did the Bears do on 1st and goal from the 1? They threw a fade to a 5'11 receiver. And oh, by the way, that fade was incomplete, which stopped the clock after only 4 seconds ran off. I understand that they scored on the next play by doing what they should have done all along on the first drive, giving the ball to a running back. So the clock runoff thing ended up kind of being a moot point, but it's about process here. It's about attention to detail. Throwing a fade to DJ Moore in that scenario is bad process when you have all 3 timeouts and you really don't want to give the ball back to the Commanders if you can help it. All of those failures on offense, though, pale in comparison to what then happened on defense. For starters, with 6 seconds left, when they're not even in Hail Mary range, why are you giving them space to get a free 15 yards? You're playing against the Hail Mary here when they can't even throw the Hail Mary. So what are we doing? This just gave them the opportunity to run the play for free. And then on the Hail Mary itself, why are you only rushing 3 with a contain rush? You have to get after the quarterback on a Hail Mary. You have to disrupt them and move them out of the pocket, or even better, move them in a direction that they don't want to go before their receivers even get to the end zone. Just look at how the Texans handled the Hail Mary from the Colts literally earlier on the very same day from the same spot on the field. They lined up in a load front so they could bring all their pressure from one side and force Richardson to move to his left. And this is a right-handed quarterback, mind you, so they wanted him to move to the left because launching the ball to the end zone while moving left is way harder to do. And of course, by the time the Texans pass rushers caught up to him, Richardson's receivers weren't even set up in the end zone yet. That is how you defend a Hail Mary. You don't line up with a balanced front with 2 of those rushers being north of 280 against a quarterback that runs 4.4, and then you just blindly throw all of them into double team so the QB who runs 4.4 can run around for 13 seconds and buy time. I mean, people keep bringing up the Tyreek Stevenson thing and how he lost focus, which sure, that was bad, but there probably wouldn't have been a throw in the first place if the coaching staff actually tried to get pressure. And there definitely would not have been a throw if they didn't give up 15 yards for free on the play before that. For this Bears coaching staff to have this many awful failures in terms of play calling and situational awareness, that is indefensible. But to have those failures, lose the game, and then go into the post-game press conference and blame the players for bad execution, that is not just indefensible, that is fireable. Your job as a coach, as I said before, is to put these players in position to succeed in their execution. If they don't succeed because of decisions you make as the coach, blaming those players for their failures is gutless. Absolutely gutless. We've seen so many Bears players now openly questioning their own coaches since this loss, And I believe they are publicly doing that because of how Eberflus handled the media after that game. He threw them all under the bus after he fucked up and after his offensive coordinator fucked up, so they're done protecting both of them. The gloves are off at this point, and they should be. This is a broken organization. Again. And that makes me angry, truly, because this is just a continuation of the same cycle that the Bears have been through for almost a decade. Hire a new coach. That new coach isn't the answer. The Bears refuse to fire him because they're a cheap organization that doesn't want to pay coaches the remainder of their contract just to sit on the couch. So they keep him for one more year and draft a rookie quarterback in the first round and hope that he fixes everything. That rookie then doesn't fix everything because they're a rookie, so they finally fire the coach, and then the rookie has to learn a new offense in his second season and also get acclimated to a new coach and a new culture, which hampers his development. I mean, they've literally done the same sequence of events 3 times in a row now. John Fox got fired after Mitch Trubisky's rookie year. Matt Nagy got fired after Justin Fields' rookie year. And now Matt Eberflus is also probably going to get fired after Caleb Williams' rookie year when this season is over. The Bears have learned nothing about how to develop a quarterback. Absolutely nothing. And they deserve this. The fans don't deserve it. The players don't deserve it. But Bears leadership does. Because everyone who has eyes knows what the problem is, but the Bears won't do anything about it. I just don't know where to go from here. I really don't. And I don't think any other Bears fan does either. Because this is just what the franchise is. If you look at the NFC North, Matt Eberflus is probably the 6th best head coach in his own division, if you count all the coordinators. He might even be the 7th best head coach, if we're being completely honest about it. And that's a problem. How do you win with that in a competitive division? How do you have confidence in that at all? I don't. So what do you do? And I wish I had a happier way to end this video, but I don't. And that's why I felt I had to make it, because this is just what the Bears are. It's what they've always been. And until changes are made at the very, very, very top of the organization, it's just what they're always going to be. At some point, pattern becomes habit, becomes routine. And this is the routine now. It's about mismanagement and disappointment and fucking up development. That is what the Bears are. And I don't know how to fix it. So that's all I got. And that sucks. Bear down.